Hi, everybody. This is Apba Brian with Apba Baseball Classics, bringing to you the Divisional Round Picks show. I'm here with my son, Justin Neely, and Dan Mattingly will be joining us later, my son-in-law. And you know the drill. They both work separate shifts, separate hours, so we film each other at separate times and splice them in. Well, last week you were 5-1 in the wild card picks, Justin. Happy Apba Brian was 6-0.
Nice.
Yeah, lucky Dan was 4-2. We all did well. This week's bets are going to be a little tougher. This divisional round's a little bit harder to figure for sure.
Yeah, none of these games are givens. This is a very great set of 8 teams here that we have to spectate this
Man,
year.
it's going to be a great weekend. Well, it starts off with the Bengals at Tennessee.
Well, congratulations to Cincinnati for winning their first playoff game since I've been alive. Last time they won was January of 1991, about 4 months before I came to exist. This game, it's these teams are pretty similar. So it's a little anything can happen, but I've taken some notes. I've done a little bit of studying, and I think basically the biggest difference that's going to turn the tide of this game is I think Cincinnati's defense is not quite up to the task. Tennessee's a run-first team, and Cincinnati's been a little weak against running teams this year. And their defensive line is not 100% going into this. I think Tennessee's secondary is probably more vulnerable than Cincinnati's secondary, but I think they're both kind of vulnerable. Tennessee's receivers, Brown and Julio Jones. Tannehill doesn't have to be an elite quarterback. He just has to get them the ball, and they'll get their yards after the catch and have an impact on the game. Burrow, though, he does have to be an elite quarterback to win this game. I'm not so sure Mixon is going to have a lot of success against the Tennessee defense, and Burrow's going to have to, I mean, he's been doing it lately, but he's going to have to do it one more time in a very big way. And Jamar Chase, I think he's got it coming to him. He's going to be called for one of these push-offs he keeps doing. Now, I guess this is definitely going to be a close game, but I think Cincinnati's defense is going to get scored on more. So I'm picking Tennessee.
My thinking is pretty much the same along the same lines that you're thinking. Cincinnati gives up 4.4 yards per rush play, and you don't want to take that kind of an average against Tennessee. Tennessee will increase that probably. And Derrick Henry is practicing. He went through contact in Wednesday's practice, came out just fine. And it looks like Derrick Henry is going to be playing. If he can't play a full game, they still have Foreman and Hilliard, a good running game. Cincinnati's offensive line has allowed a league-high 51 sacks. So I think they're going to lose the battle on the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. Simmons is a great defensive tackle. He's going to hold down Mixon, and they can rush the passer as well. And I think the big problem with Cincinnati is they may abandon run early if they don't find running success, and then it's all going to have to be on Burrow and the offensive line trying to protect Burrow when Tennessee knows they're going to pass. Mm-hmm. Well, they can't abandon the run early. but that's a real possibility. Tennessee has a number two run defense in the league. I'm picking Tennessee, and then this week we got a special guest on the show. I've been playing a new football game called Fast Drive Football. It's about a year old. It's another drive-by drive game, like game-winning drive that you and I played, and I played on the channel. So I played out all these games, and if you haven't watched them yet and you plan to watch them, spoiler alert, here's the score of the Bengals-Titans game. Titans 33, Bengals 30. So you, me, and Fast Drive are in agreement with Tennessee.
I watched that one. Tennessee with the late score.
All right, at this time, let's welcome my son-in-law, Dan Mattingly. Dan, you were 4-2 last week. You had a good week. Justin was 5-1, and Happy Apba Brian was 6-0.
Ooh, look at you. That's a good week right there.
First up is the Cincinnati Bengals and the Tennessee Titans.
Okay, so kind of a tough call. I love that that Cincinnati offense. They're humming. Burrow, it looks as good as anybody in the playoffs, and most of the time I will take the hot quarterback, and it may come back to bite me that I don't. But I think Tennessee is such a complete team. They've been able to really make it work all year. They're getting Derrick Henry back. Hard to say what he'll give them first week back, but you never know. I'll take the Titans here.
Yeah, he's held up to contact in practice, they said. And he may not be able to give him a full game, but even if he doesn't, they got Foreman and Hillier. Justin picked Tennessee, and I picked Tennessee. And then we have a special guest on the show today that's Fast Drive Football. I've been playing the 2021 teams in Fast Drive Football, and Tennessee won that game.
Ah, okay. A good predictor. I like it.
San Francisco at Green Bay.
Okay. Well, it's been a great year, San Francisco, but you've met your match. Green Bay is getting very healthy for this game, and I think what it comes down to between these two teams is San Francisco's defense is a bit banged up. Bosa's got concussion, and we're not sure how that's going to play out as we approach game time. But Warner, his ankle's hurting him. Not sure how that's going to play out come game time. And Warner is a very big piece of that defense and very important in this game because Aaron Jones is an elite running back. He plays very physical. And when it comes to elite players, I think Green Bay has more of them than San Francisco does. Aaron Rodgers' accuracy is way leagues above Jimmy Garoppolo's accuracy. And Devontae Adams, his pass catching ability and just being on the same page as Rodgers, that is such a big advantage to the Packers. I think Deebo Samuel is going to have to do the majority of the San Francisco's point scoring. And I think Green Bay can spread it around a little bit better. And this is played in Green Bay, and it is very, very cold. And I think it's going to be too cold for these California boys. So I'm picking Green Bay to win this game.
Got you down for Green Bay. They played earlier in the year, and Green Bay won on a last-second field goal, 30-28. And that's kind of the story of Green Bay's season. They've won 5 games by 3 points or less. Green Bay is looking to get back an all-pro cornerback, an all-pro linebacker, and an all-pro offensive tackle. But early in the week of practice, it's not looking great. Jamar Alexander practiced limited today. Linebacker, I'm not sure practiced at all. And I'm not sure on Bakhtiari's status either. I think Bakhtiari will be playing. But, they missed a lot of time. But they're still Aaron Rodgers. I think this is going to be a close game. And I would actually pick San Francisco if the middle of San Francisco's defense was healthier, Bosa and Warner, as you mentioned. I'd probably pick San Francisco because they can run the ball, and Green Bay sometimes has trouble stopping the run.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not healthy, and Rodgers is he gets bounced out of the playoffs quite a bit. He made it through the NFC Championship game last year. Could have won that game, but didn't. But I think they're going to win this one. They're going to get to the NFC Championship game. Next up is San Francisco and Green Bay.
San Francisco, Green Bay. San Fran's got a really good defense, as you mentioned last week when you took them. I really did think the Cowboys were going to play a lot better than they played. They looked awful, and the end of the game sequence was. I would probably fire Mike McCarthy over the end of the game.
Me too. Everybody's defending him, but yeah.
No, he's done it all year. Almost his whole career. It's probably why Rodgers only has 1 Super Bowl, is because he had to deal with weird mistakes Mike McCarthy made all the time and not moving on, rosters not turning over fast enough. I think that Green Bay has a better situation right now, even if Rodgers is as uncomfortable in it as you can make people feel about. I think that Green Bay will be able to put up enough points to stay ahead of San Francisco. I think San Francisco is going to get it, for them to break out and score 30 points would take a huge day out of all of their key contributors. And I don't know that everybody shows up against the Packers, but we'll see.
Yeah, some of their key contributors are hurt. Warner and Bosa are hurt. Of course, Garoppolo's got that sprained shoulder to go with the thumb now. And he says one is not worse than the other and neither are good.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
San Francisco has eliminated Green Bay from the playoffs 3 times, but I don't think it's going to happen this time. Justin doesn't either. And Fast Drive Football had Green Bay winning a close game.
There we go.
This is going to be a fun game to watch, particularly for me, watching Tom Brady get defeated.
Yeah, we're talking about the Rams and Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay's offensive line, they're not 100%. They're really hurting. And Von Miller is licking his chops. Tom Brady better be hoping those referees are going to do something extra special for him, because Von Miller is coming, and they don't have much to stop him.
Yeah, I think there is an extra protection rule. I know he didn't get a lot of roughing passer penalties this year, but that one last week was it last week when they knocked him down and hardly hit him?
Yeah. But some of this is going to be clean. I think he's in trouble. So they're getting Leonard.
We had one of those penalties against Tom Brady in the 2018 championship game where the guy barely touched his shoulder and they threw the flag. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember. It was like his fingertip.
Oh, unbelievable. That's about the Tom Brady protection rule. That's a special rule in the NFL.
It truly is. But there has to be something like close to like the danger zone for them to throw that flag. And I think Von Miller is gonna get some clean chances at
Yeah, the thing that's got to be uppermost in the Rams defensive linemen's minds is that if they're down on the ground, they can't go straight after Brady. They're going to have to actually get back up to hit him again. They can't go from the ground to hit him because they'll get a flag every time. They're going to have to get up and then hit him.
Yeah. And even like at the thigh level, they might get flagged for thigh level.
They better hit him on the numbers. And don't follow him. And don't knock him down too hard.
and after you knock him down,
I don't think Tampa's going to be able to protect him.
And after you knock him down, don't look at him afterwards.
Oh yeah, there'll be a taunting foul. That's happened too. You're right.
All right. Let's talk about Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp a little bit here. These guys are on fire lately. For the season, 1,600 yards between them. Did you see that catch that Cooper Kupp made last week in the end zone?
Yeah, on the goal line, down by his ankles. Yep, saw that.
That was incredible. That's a difficult area for defenders to defend.
Yeah.
And you don't see that you don't see a lot of passes going there nowadays.
Yeah, he used to. Montana threw a lot of those, but now a lot of them are high point catches for mismatches.
Mm-hmm. So I think, and plus Sony Michel did pretty well against Arizona last week. I think with how dangerous the Rams passing game is, even though the Bucs have a great run defense, I think Michel might find a couple holes here and there to extend some drives. And basically, I think the Rams are just going to outscore Tampa Bay, similar to that earlier game of the season, probably by 2 scores.
Yeah, 34-24 was that score.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I pretty much agree with you. I'm on the same page with you. I think Tom Brady's going to have to get the ball out very fast. Tristan Wirfs, his left tackle, is hurting. Ryan Jensen's hurting. I think there's another one that's hurting too. Arizona tried to block Aaron Donald with a running back. That didn't work out very good. And so it's going to be interesting to see how Tampa Bay addresses that problem. I don't think they will successfully. Defensively, Tampa Bay is playing well. All 22 starters are back from their Super Bowl team, but it's hard to win back-to-back Super Bowls. The last time it's been was Tom Brady back in 2004, 2003. It's been about 18 years, 17 and 18 years since that's happened. Hard to do. I think this is the week Tampa Bay goes out. I'm picking Los Angeles. Not sure I showed this yet, but Fast Drive was played, and I get focus, Bucks 38, 31 Rams. So Fast Drive is picking Tampa Bay. You and I have got the Rams. LA at the Buccaneers.
This is a tough one. Hard to pick against Brady. That team's pretty good. They're banged up in the secondary in a major way. They're missing a running game again with their running back out, Fournette. He's got limited weapons, and I'll probably kick myself for taking the Rams here, but I will take the Rams. I think that they have the personnel to really pick apart a decimated secondary. When you're talking about Richard Sherman, who's well past his prime, being out and it being a factor for your secondary, you've got a lot of problems in the secondary. but Tampa's home. They could they could surprise me here. But Rams defense looked really good last weekend too. So I think more complete team at this stage of the year.
LA Rams are 7-2 on the road. So this is just another road trip for them. It's not like going to Green Bay where it's going to be 0. Donald, Floyd, and Miller are the biggest reasons why I think Brady's going to have a long day.
Yeah. Hard to block all three of those guys.
Apba, Brian picked Rams. Justin picked the Rams. Fast Drive Football gave a tight victory to Tampa Bay.
Oh. Well, Fast Drive might take one on us here.
All right, here's the game. I think it's the game of the weekend. Buffalo at Kansas City.
Oh man, I'm so nervous and excited and cannot wait at all. I'm so done with my work week already. I just want it to be Sunday already. There's gonna be fireworks in this game for sure.
High scoring.
I mean, if you have to punt, do you lose this game?
We saw a few of those games when Peyton Manning was playing with the Colts against the Chiefs. The team they had to punt one time was an unlucky team.
Yeah. So I was trying to focus on my research into this game. I went ahead and I kind of laid into my bias towards the Chiefs. And there's kind of a few things that I feel like strongly back that up to be a reasonable pick. So I am picking the Chiefs to win this. Now, first of all, when we played earlier in the year, Buffalo didn't have to deal with Chris Jones.
And our offensive line was fairly new. They weren't quite as developed as they are now.
Yes. And that is huge.
Both those things are huge, actually.
Yes. And
because
also
our secondary was so confused. As we talked about before, our defensive coordinator, Spagnuolo, tried to put in everything at once. And you'd see Tyrann Mathieu going like this about 3 or 4 times a game, like, what just happened? Because somebody blew an assignment. But long about week 7 or week 8, that was out of the way. Everybody was on page, and we've not been seeing that since then.
Mm-hmm. So that's also another big positive. And Charvarius Ward is an underrated corner. A lot of the times when people are saying he's been getting burned this year, I mean, it's just because of great passes and great catches. Like, he's been in the right position in a lot of these plays that haven't gone his way.
Yeah.
And L'Jarius Sneed, he's been great. I mean, I think our secondary is competitive now later on in this year. And did the Bills, did they have to deal with Melvin Ingram? I'm not, was that before Melvin Ingram?
That was before Melvin Ingram.
Yeah, so they've got,
that's 3 big things, really, actually.
They've got a new look to deal with, and I'm not so sure that they can. I kind of need to see Josh Allen and his team around him prove it to me that they can deal with our new setup. Because I think with Frank Clark and Melvin Ingram on our edges, I think we have the ability to set the edge on some key passing downs. And then what that does is keeps Allen in the pocket, and it forces him to look for his receivers. And then that's when Chris Jones comes in and messes everything up, because Chris Jones is a beast. He's right there in the middle.
Yeah, we're going to have to be very disciplined, though, because they're definitely going to look – Allen's going to be looking for runs early in the game. He did that last time we played them That opens up the pass offense if he can get a few runs in early. So we've got to be ready for that. It's
Mhm.
going to be an early key.
For sure. But I think Nick Bolton is up to the task for that.
Fast. He is fast, and he
He
hits
he
hard.
he does hit hard, and he's sort of shown to be sort of stronger as far as stopping the opponent's running game than he is in pass coverage.
Have you heard about Matt Gay?
Yeah, I think that's just silly that it's kind of people are treating it like a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. It's a misdemeanor. If you don't know, Willie Gay, Chiefs linebacker, rookie linebacker, was arrested last night in a Kansas City suburb called Overland Park. Got into an argument with his ex over their son and messed up her cell phone and maybe damaged a wall or something. $225 worth of damage. So he was arrested, and he's actually was brought to will be in court facing a judge Thursday afternoon. But it's a misdemeanor, so it's not like when Kareem Hunt was with the Chiefs and pushed his girlfriend down. That was an assault. Chiefs. That was bad. That was just bad.
Yeah.
On video, and we have really missed him. Chiefs. That was the end of him with the Chiefs. He was picked up by Cleveland. I wish he was still with the Chiefs, but I don't think this is the same deal as with Kareem Hunt. I think it's fairly minor. I would believe that he probably missed practice today, but I would think he's going to be out there.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. You mentioned we miss Kareem Hunt a lot, and we have, that's for sure.
Yeah, but we've discovered Jerick McKinnon.
Yes. And boy, am I excited about this guy. I think that was basically what our offense was lacking, is sort of the strength of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and the strength of Gore put together. I think McKinnon has both of those things, where he can go side to side quickly, and he also has
on a dime.
and he also has the acceleration to back it up. And this Kansas City offense is a whole new ball game, because historically we know Andy Reid screen game, and I think McKinnon is a perfect screen target. And that we already know how dangerous Kelsey and Tyreek Hill are, and everyone's always trying to game plan around them. They can't do it usually. They can sometimes take out one of them, but never both. But now we have this. I think McKinnon, he's huge. I think he's going to be a massive yards producer for us.
Yeah, he's a whole new dimension.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't just last week. He showed some of this against Denver, too. He didn't play as much in Denver game as he did last week, but I saw some of that when I watched him in preseason, and I was actually surprised we didn't see more of him during the year. I think he was hurt though somewhat during the year, but I'm very much looking forward to Jerick McKinnon.
Yes, and he comes in at a perfect time, because Patrick Mahomes, I think there's a difference between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen that so a lot of people have probably noticed, but I'm gonna kind of put it in plain words. I think Patrick Mahomes, he has this sort of like zone that he gets into, and we've seen it time and time again, where it only takes one quarter for him to go off about 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, last week they scored 5 touchdowns in less than 11 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, every 2 minutes there was touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Halftime, touchdown, touchdown.
Last year in the playoffs versus the Texans, same thing.
No, 2 years.
uh,
2
or
years.
2 years ago against the Texans, same thing.
Yeah, we were down by
Um,
24 points in that game. Was that the one we were down by 24?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
And
leading
it
by
just,
halftime.
yeah. And when the avalanche came, you could just see it on the Texans' faces. It was over. I mean, they were still way up, but they knew it was over.
Uh-huh. And we've seen it in the regular season versus the Raiders a couple different times last few years.
Chiefs down by 2 scores against San Francisco 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then last half of the fourth quarter, Mahomes went off and
Explodes.
exploded. And same way with the Tennessee game they were behind in the AFC Championship game. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's lots of examples that we haven't even brought up.
Sure.
Because there's too many to count at this point. And Josh Allen, he needs to prove that to me for me to believe that in 10 games he can do that as much as Mahomes can. And so I think Mahomes has a little bit of an edge over Allen as far as like getting into the zone factor. So, oh, and yes, you mentioned the offensive line earlier, and I think that's huge as well. Mahomes has a line this year that's been doing great lately. So, and the Bills, they're missing their number 1 corner.
Yep, Tre'Davious Davis, he's out, and that's a big factor. Like us missing Chris Jones the last time we played them.
Mm-hmm. And we know the Bills, they're going to get their points on our defense probably, but I'm saying the Chiefs are outscoring them. Mahomes, I think Mahomes can get a big play on command, basically. And this season, with how teams have been playing him differently, they have, unfortunately for themselves, made Mahomes even better, because now Mahomes has built up his matriculating the ball down the field skills, and he can just sneak in a big play on command whenever he wants. And I think people have sort of shot themselves in the foot by constantly playing deep against us and teaching Mahomes his new skills that he's got. But we'll see what happens this week. I can't wait.
Well, here's my pick. It's been a Kansas City Chiefs love fest here on this pick show. But we totally respect Buffalo. They did beat us worse than anybody has beat us, probably in years, in that game earlier, 38-20. They dominated the game from start to finish.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen's hot right now. But I do think with that game last week against New England just didn't show up. I wouldn't get too excited over that. New England was just not a factor in that game. But he was perfect. He was on target with every pass. The New England put no pressure on him. They couldn't stop the running. They couldn't stop his passing. Buffalo is, I think, the second best team in football. I think they're better than Green Bay. They're up there with the Rams. I think they're better than the Rams. And we could be wrong. They could be better than us. But I'm looking at Buffalo. And last year I said when we beat them in the championship game, they're just not physical enough. We beat them up on the line with our backup offensive line. And look what Jacksonville did to them. You know, they've had a couple of moments where they've been pushed around up front.
Yeah, and I think Buffalo's had an easier schedule than us this year as
They,
well.
half our games have been playoff teams, you know, and they've been in a fairly easy division.
They've got Miami and the Jets over there.
Yeah. Buffalo's good, but I don't think they're physical enough to stop us. I think we're going to have our way. I think the game will be close. I think it'll be high scoring. One thing that scares me is that Buffalo will be highly motivated after being bounced out of the NFC Championship game last year.
Yeah.
I mean, this game is do or die for them.
Yeah. But it's a tough argument to say to kind of choose who is more motivated, because Kansas City, they feel kind of wronged how the Super Bowl went for them last year. They just didn't have their team fully ready for that game, and they kind of felt embarrassed.
Well, I think the Chiefs are motivated, but there's no question Buffalo is going to be highly motivated.
Yeah.
So who am I picking? Appa Brian is picking the Chiefs. I think we're going to have some fun. It's going to be a great game. Now, Fast Drive, they have an opinion, and if you haven't watched this game, it was a great one. And I think in real life, I think it's going to be a great one. This game was great. Went up on the channel yesterday. Kansas City 37, Buffalo 34.
Hey.
I think there were about 9 lead changes in that game, and Kansas City had to come from behind, basically with no time left. Buffalo had a desperation pass. They didn't hit it. Hail Mary pass. They didn't hit it. Kansas City won. Yeah, Justin and I had some fun with this pick, Buffalo at Kansas City.
Oh, I bet you did. The Bills played a perfect game last weekend. The Pats just didn't have it, and I expected the Bills to win, but I didn't expect them to win like that. That was a very, very convincing victory. Defense looked fast. Singletary ran well. Allen, the thing that's hard to stop about Allen is if you spread the field, you get 4 guys wide, and you put him in shotgun, he is just, it's almost impossible to stop him. But if there's a team that's built to keep up with the Bills, it's the Chiefs. I think that the Chiefs defense has a lot more than the Patriots do at this point in time. I expect the Chiefs to step up and get a tough home win here. And I think the defense will force a couple turnovers that will be the deciding factor in this one.
So you're picking Kansas
City. Yes.
Well, I think Buffalo is going to give us a great game.
Yeah.
They're going to try to run Allen early, and that kind of opens up their passing game. But the Chiefs know that, and hopefully they've got a good plan for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you do here? Do you assign a linebacker, or do you spy him with Sorensen or Matthew, or what do you think?
Not sure what our linebacker situation is going to be. Did you hear about Willie Gay?
I did. It sounds like it's a misdemeanor. He broke a vacuum and damaged a door.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a very big deal. But, you shouldn't be doing that the week before a playoff game. You should never be doing that. Throwing vacuums seems like a pretty bad way to express yourself, we'll say.
On the football field, you can express yourself in similar ways, but
that's true.
No.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be able to express himself Sunday night.
Hopefully. They could use him. And hopefully he's mentally sharp, him and Bolton. They've been great to watch this year. Bright future for both of those players. And let's go Chiefs. We'll see how it goes.
Yep, let's go Chiefs. Thanks for joining us, Dan. And we'll be back next week with the championship picks.
Oh boy. Well, if you go perfect in the in the playoffs.
I
Do
still won't
Justin
catch-
and I have to send you a gift card or something?
I still won't catch Justin because there's only like these four games, 5, 6, 7 games. I'm 6 behind.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's tough. Well, always fun. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, that's our picks for this week. Justin, thanks for joining us. And it's going to be a great weekend of football. You're welcome, of course, to come over anytime you want. Don Hall, a friend of mine, and his wife are coming over to watch the first game. And so you're welcome to come that day or whenever you can.
I'm going to try to stay up late this weekend for the game.
Yeah, do you work? Yeah, you got to go to work that later. So maybe just try to get a.
I don't have to work Monday now, but
okay. Good.
it'll be tough, but I think the adrenaline of the moment will keep me going.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on your picks. You're 6 games ahead of me.
Thanks.